coming to you this time from the park, and I thought for today's video I'd just kind of sit down and chit chat and tell you guys a little bit more about me and who I am and how I found myself in the great state of California, where it's currently a beautiful day, and I'm just like I said, sitting here at the park, and I thought I'd take a moment to talk to you guys and kind of let you know a little bit more about myself. To start with, how I got into California was I was born and raised in Michigan, and then after college, my parents decided that they were done with Michigan in 2014, and they asked me if I would want to move to California, and I said yes because I was tired of the weather in Michigan, because there's a lot of snow and other things that make it really hard for me personally to get around and move around, and I didn't really have much going on because I had just gotten out of a relationship and didn't have a job because I just graduated college, and so I was kind of in the perfect position to move somewhere new and start a fresh chapter of life. So that's a little bit about how I got here in Southern California, and I personally love Southern California because the weather, I can be outside, and today is December 2nd, and I can be here in my sweatshirt, which is not even really a real sweatshirt like Michigan real. It's more, reminds me, if you have experience with the Midwest, this sweatshirt that I'm wearing right now, this hoodie, would be more something that I might wear in the spring, because it's early spring going toward the fall, to where you need to wear something, but you don't really have to wear a lot. And I've got jeans on and just my tennis shoes, which is typical for here in the wintertime, which is what I would normally wear maybe in the spring, fall-ish weather. Rarely. You'd mostly go right from hot weather to cold weather there, and then you only got 3 months of hot weather, which is where I personally feel the best because I have spastic cerebral palsy, which is greatly affected when it's cold because I get stiffer in the cold. Anyway, I was just gonna try to take this video to explain to you guys that just kind of talk to you about stuff and I don't know, just see what's going on. My thoughts aren't very well organized, but I don't care. In this video, I have a lot of thoughts and interests that I'm gonna try to do some more Christmas stuff, but this video I mostly wanted to make just to tell you a little bit more about my background and how I came to get here. I did live 5 years ago. Before I moved here, I lived in Michigan for the entirety of my life, except for there was maybe 3-month period that I lived in Ohio because I decided after years and years of going to community college directly out of high school, which I did graduate with a normal diploma because I was put in mostly mainstream school my whole life because I'm just smart, as most people that I know with my particular disability, which is cerebral palsy, which is one of the most common physical disabilities that there are out there. Most people that I know that have this condition, because it's not a disease, are cognitively fine. However, they might have some functioning problems, like my muscles are very stiff and tight, which limit my range of motion in my legs and arms, and as well as in just my ability to balance. But that doesn't really bother me, and really, it never really has bothered me, because I figure this is my body, and my parents never made it a huge deal. It was just kind of a thing that was, which I think everybody has a thing that is, like, that makes life hard for them. So that's the way I grew up, understanding my disability. It doesn't mean that I always accepted it that way, because I had a very hard time with, like, fitting in and stuff when I was 14, because I was just awkward and trying to deal with the fact that I couldn't walk, which I never really thought was a problem. Like, even though I do have to have people help me with lots of everyday things, like, I never necessarily, it wasn't a problem, because no one in my personal life, like, it wasn't ever brought up as like, oh shit, it's this big thing. It was just a thing that was, and yes, I had a wheelchair, and yes, I had different things that I had to do as a kid, like I had to stretch more, still do have to stretch more, still have to do, like, weight-bearing activities, but that's just part of me. Like, same thing as my brother had chores, like, in the house I was raised as a normal person. There was, and I do have a sibling that doesn't have any type of physical disability, and I was just a sister. I wasn't like the special kid, because I think growing up with a special mentality, growing up entitled with things, and I was told that this was the thing that was always going to make me different, but different wasn't necessarily a bad, it wasn't looked at as like a negative or even a positive. It was looked at as, this is what it is, and this is what you have to deal with your life. So therefore, I just approached everything that way. Like, it's not really it wasn't ever a big deal to me. It was a big deal to the outside people in my life. Like, when I was a kid, it was always a big deal to, like, my friends, not even my friends, but my friends' parents, in reaction to me, because they didn't know how to approach it. Like, they didn't know what I could do, where I never really thought about what I could do. I just did stuff, like, and I didn't really think about things in terms of I couldn't do that, because in my mind, it wasn't really something to be jealous of. Like, the fact that my brother can walk and I can't walk, it wasn't really a big thing. Like, it was, and I've never really looked at that like, oh, they can do things that I can't do, because I always figured that I'd figure out some other way to do things, or that, like, for instance, getting myself dressed, I don't personally do that, because, for one thing, I don't think my body, with the stiffness of how I am, I don't think, and my arm strength, and being the fact that I have both of my limbs, but the one arm isn't as strong as the other one, and I can't really control this one, because it's just spastic and tight, and my brain sends the wrong signals to my muscles, and that's that's kind of how CP works. So, I just have never really thought of, I don't get jealous of things that other people can do, because it's just never going to be something that I was going to be physically able to accomplish, and look to myself as an appropriate person. Like, I'm not willing to put on really loose clothes and look underdressed or not dressed age appropriately, or dressed in ill-fitting clothes, just because those are the ones that I can put on. The value in my independence, like, to me, that kind of independence isn't worth because I wouldn't feel comfortable in clothes that don't fit me properly just because I can put them on. Because again, I'm just a person, not a disabled person. Like, and I don't feel like my life is less because of it, or like I never really have felt that I'm missing things. My life is just different, and different is okay. And I think that that's a thing that a lot of people... Sorry, I'm trying to look at the camera and not look up here, because I have the camera sat down very far. And there's just a lot of things that I haven't been able to figure out how to do yet, like travel. I know, for instance, that that's not a goal as of right now that I can do on my own, but it is something that I'd like to do. I'd like to see South Africa, where Rainbow Sirchild is from, but right now there's not a way that I can accomplish that by myself or without a partner, and I don't have a partner right now. And yes, that is something that I'm very much, like, I wouldn't say looking for, but I don't discount it, again, because I'm a disabled person, because I don't look at myself as other, because my wheelchair is just a thing that helps me get around. It's not an amazing, miraculous thing, and I'm not always bound. Like, wheelchair bound kind of bothers me, because it's not glued to me. Like, there's nothing about me that says, oh my God, like, I'm bound to any surface. Like, if I lay on something, then I'm gonna be bed bound or wheelchair bound, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Like, wheelchairs are nothing to be ashamed of. Walkers are nothing to be ashamed of. It's just a tool to help who's ever using it to get around. So I don't understand. But I think it's something that the general population has to get used to. Is thinking this is not a thing that makes me special or you don't have to do anything to interact with me. You just interact with me. Talk to me. You don't have to bend down or just start a conversation. It's not a big deal. I'm okay. This is who I am, and I can't. And people ask me all the time, do I worry about what this is or who I don't, there's nothing that I can do about it. And as far as walking, does walking bother me? Or does not walking bother me? Not walking doesn't bother me. Like, I mean, would I like to? Sure. Is it something I can realistically do? No. Does it make me feel like I've failed in some way or missing out about something? Not really. Like, it's not, and for me to do it, it's not really something that I like. And it's not like I didn't try, because we went to therapy for years, since I was like, I don't know, 2, to try to learn how to, but this is my body, and I'm okay with this. Like, at this point in my life, I'm fine with all of this stuff. So mostly the reaction that I get from other people is what bothers me, because people don't know how to react to someone that's okay with who they are, because I think people think that you're supposed to be sad about it or you're missing out. But, like, and I think it has a lot to do with, and do I compare myself to other people? Sure, everybody compares themselves to other people. But I think part of it comes from because I've always had friends that have the same disability as me, cerebral palsy, but they all had different things that they could do. Like, a lot of people that I know can walk, but I don't always think about, like, it's not constantly on my mind, because I have, like, I think about it if there's stairs or something, like, or if I go places with stairs, which I do. I go over to people's houses that have stairs. Like, I don't expect the world to have everything the accessible way, or if I'm your friend and you're a new friend, I don't expect your house to be all accessible. I think about things to try to make things easier, but I'm not sad that I can't. Like, I do get sad that I can't do things, like go over to other people's houses, but it's generally, I don't put that much stock in, like, other people's houses being accessible. Like, I'll think about it in terms of, like, do I need to bring my electric chair or my manual chair? And I do have 2 manual chairs, which I bought myself because you're only allowed 1 through insurance. I mean, there's different ways you can do it, and sometimes you can purchase 1 as, like, a stroller. But I just buy manual chairs out of pocket, because I think that the more options you have to get yourself around and get yourself around people is more important to me than, like, always. Like, and sometimes that does mean I have to be pushed because I can't push myself. Again, that's just a reality of life. Like, not something that particularly bothers me or bugs me as far as going in the little chair. Like, it bugs me that I can't move on my own, but, like, the important part to me more is having relationships with other people. And I don't have very many disabled people friends because, I don't know, I've just not been, I don't particularly, like, seek out those. Like, I don't feel like my disability or my wheelchair is a defining characteristic in myself, so I don't feel like I need so much, like, other people in the same situation. Like, I don't feel like I'm that much of an other, that I need just other people because they need to get it, because there's nothing to get. My legs don't work the way that I would like them to. My arm doesn't work the way I'd like it to. But so what? Do I have a happy life? Yes, I do. Are there things that I wish would change? Yes, there is. Would I like to have relationships? Yes. Would I like to have romantic relationships? Yes. Do I think that's possible? Yes, because I've had them before. I've had normal, and I don't exclusively just date people that are able-bodied, and I'm not exclusively looking for someone that happens to have some sort of disability, because I like people, and people to me are not quantified by whether you have a disability or you can do this with your arms or that with your arms, or like, I don't look for relationships with people as someone to help me. That's not my first goal when I meet people, regardless of what they can do or what they can't do. I'm looking for common interests. Like, do you like to read? What do you like to read? Because I've always found enjoyment in reading, because it was another way, again, that I could connect with people. And not because I can't go climb the slide or do things like. That's where I think that my love of like reading and art, like, because those were all things that I could do by myself, like on my own, with my one hand or my mouth or whatever. Because I do paint and stuff. I'm not very good. Don't think I'm like some kind of big artist, because I'm not really. But it's all really things that I could do by myself on my own, like, without having to have help. Not that I didn't enjoy, like, having my dad take me down the slide when I was a kid. Like, I did, but it wasn't, like, a big deal necessarily. Like, and there was lots of playgrounds as I got older that they tried to make accessible playgrounds, which I really did appreciate, because then it like gave me an opportunity to play and mix and mingle with people my own age in elementary school, which made it less, because I think a lot of times people are kind of scared to approach people that are different, because I think society models something that different equals bad, which I don't think is a good way to be. And I do think that people ought to all be included in everything, like, so I think there should be some inclusion and some understanding, but I think sometimes telling people what to say and how to approach things gives them too many rules, so then they're hesitating to interact with you. Because I personally feel like the best way to get to know someone is just a hello. Like, try to interact. Like, it doesn't, I want you to be aware of me and not, like, be rude to me, obviously, but you can say hello. And, like, little kids, when they ask questions, fine, you can ask questions. Don't be rude about your questions. Like, I've often been asked questions about dating or, like, things from complete strangers that you shouldn't ask. Just a person on the street or whatever. Or if I'm allowed to be somewhere. I'm 35, 36 years old, and I am, of course, I'm allowed to be places, like, without supervision. Like, if it's not something that you ask someone else, don't. And if it's a question about, like, think about, would you like somebody asking you that question? Is that okay for me to ask you, are you allowed to be here? Or what group home are you from? Like, or I don't know. Like, and I think, but if you want to get to know me, want to say hello, definitely do that. Say hello. I'm not a person that gets angry. Even if you're staring at me and have a question, like, as long as it's not overly rude or intrusive or just a normal conversation, discourse. If you'd like to ask me if I need help, I very much appreciate. I try really, really hard as a person with a disability, especially as I've got older, because I realized at some points in my life that I was like defensive about people that wanted to know if I needed help. And that's not exactly the best approach, but just in general, ask people if they need help. You know what I mean? And I guess I've always seen myself as very normal, so it's very odd to me that people say things like, I couldn't do that if I were you, because what you're really saying is if you were in my situation, you just stop and be dead, which is very, for one thing, very dramatic, and I don't think that most people given the option to live or die would honestly choose just to be dead. Like, that is not something that you're realistically going to just jump for. Like, no. You might not have ever been in that situation before, and it'd be new and it'd be a learning curve. I'll give you that. But you're not just gonna want to just fall over and die. I went to college because that's what every other person that I knew was doing, and I had grades for it. So, and I don't feel like anybody that's disabled, or other words, people should just go out and try things, because even if it sucks and you fail, which, trust me, I've failed lots of times in my life. There's lots of living situations that were not great and it didn't work, but that's how you learn from things. And nobody has a life that everything just is peachy smooth and works everywhere. And like, if you're feeling stressed because it's the holidays and you feel like you should, I think a lot of the stress from the holidays being around your family is a lot of people feel like the holidays are some sort of benchmark that you didn't reach. And it's a lot of evaluating yourself at your goals, and I personally think that we should all just try to be kind to ourselves, which I know is super hard sometimes, because I get in moods also where I'm not super kind to myself, but I think holidays are hard because it's a point of reflection. Like, a whole year has gone by and maybe you don't quite like the spot that you're at, so, but I just encourage you that if you're not okay with your current spot, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to feel disappointed or sad, but don't live there. Pick yourself up, keep going. And I'm gonna stop rambling now because I feel like I've rambled for a half an hour and I really haven't told you much, but I hope that this video gives you a little bit more background on me, and I'll see you next video. And if you'd like to leave any more questions or would like me to elaborate on anything that I've spoken about in the video, I would love you guys' comments, and I really look forward to talking to you soon. As always, have courage and be kind, and I'll see you next video.